So here we are for another My Team episode, and you guys have been loving these so far, and I've got to say, I think on my channel overall as a career mode, this is right up there, one of the very best I've ever done and ever had. It's genuinely organic, and it's so awesome to see, and it actually justifies my decision to, go for the new save entirely, which I'm really happy about, and I was really worried about at the time. Now with that said, if you haven't seen the last episode, Kota, check it out, link in the top right, because spoilers are ahead and a lot has happened, so do check it out and get up to speed. If you're going to enjoy today's episode, leave a like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So first things first is upgrades. We had a durability department event and then also a few activities to take care of. We then purchased an upgrade to the energy store because that is looking a bit marginal. Then we had durability upgrade from Ferrari plus 2 engine upgrades of our own. So this weekend we have essentially a triple upgrade on the car. The last race, Kota, was a huge win and we've won 2 of the last 3. Miami was a bit of an L, but we lead the championship crucially by 11 points, which, considering how the season has gone, is a pretty big margin. Now with that said, there's still 7 drivers fighting for the championship here in this season, and even though it is Mexico, don't be fooled, the season is nowhere near finishing. We still have Abu Dhabi, Jeddah, Bahrain, Australia, Japan, Singapore, all that good stuff still yet to arrive. The next race is Brazil, which is a sprint, so a lot's going to happen and there's a lot to break down, and we're nowhere near the finishing line yet. So with that said, we got through practice, everything went well, pace seemed okay, pretty similar to the last episode in Kota. Again, the big surprise, the big takeaway from the last race, we were stronger in qualifying and had better one-lap pace than actual race pace, which was very surprising to me. So I'm going to bear that in mind this weekend in terms of, we may not have that guarantee of being faster in the race anymore. And things seem to have changed. Anyway, in Q1, I currently am about to finish a lap on the mediums, and you can see my face reaction. I was surprised, considering that awful final corner, we actually went P5 at the time. I then went for a cool down lap, and we're now going to go for a second push and see if we can get into Q2 on just the medium tyres alone, because that way of course we'll save a set of softs, and that will allow us to be a bit more competitive and aggressive later on in qualifying. So let's see if we can improve on these tyres. Down to turn 1 then, keeping it nice and tidy, and then lots of inside curb now through 2 and 3, especially turn 2. We don't quite have the exit though and lose the back end with a spin, which is going to put an end to our run. So I went back to the garage, looked at the lap times, and luckily that first lap, even with that horrible final corner, we still went purple in sector 2, and it was enough to move us into Q2, so I didn't have to crack open a set of soft tyres. And to be fair, the AI improved more than I expected in the final run, so we only just made it in P15, but we're through. And Lando was the big scout out in Q1, who has been on great form lately as McLaren seemed to be improving. Into Q2 now, soft tyres on for the first time this qualifying, and we invalidate into the start of the S section. So straight away I turned everything off, trying to save some tyres and keep the fuel up, and also recharge the battery. And not even a cool down lap, I went straight again for a second push straight away. I just basically cooled the car off through the final sector. Here we go then, second attempt to try and get a lap on the soft tyres here in Q2. Turn 1, bring the car all the way over to the left, brake at the 50, down to 4th gear, open up turn 2 to really get that run through 3 and get the exit as we open the DRS, bracing down towards turn number 4, turn 10th and a half up, which is pretty damn good to be fair. On the brakes, now into the left right of 4 and 5, steady here on the throttle to not lose the back end. We now head into 6 and 7, double apex right, back on the power, and now into the S's. Will we invalidate this time? No, we don't. We keep it clean on the exit as well, and now we can push on with our lap time through the S section here. Pretty nice run, keeping it just about within track limits at all times. DRS wide open, the Michelin tyres working well as we hit the anchors into sector 3, just about keeping it within track limits again there through that right-hander, into the hairpin, slow and steady, bouncing over the curbs here, traction very key. And now the final corner, short shifting to get the traction right as we run up to the line, and it's going to be a 1:15.2 P4, and that will do the job very nicely for us, and we're comfortably into Q3. You can see overall, if you take out Russell and Magnussen, the top 8 is extremely competitive, especially the top 7. Carlos Sainz, though, with a 10th margin, which is quite a lot considering the gaps elsewhere, but it's all to play for. It's red hot, and all the championship contenders are in the mix. So, Q3 time, first lap, cut through turn 2, just a bit too much curb, which was a shame because I nailed that first part, but it's not going to count. So, we went for a second push attempt, had a bit of a correction through that right-hander there as I went in a little bit too early. Let's see though what we can do through the rest of this lap as we make our way through the stadium section into the hairpin. 15.2 was what we've done in Q2 as our lap to get into Q3. Our first lap in Q3 is a 15.1, so a 10th quicker P4 and not too shabby. However, we have one more set of tyres left. I don't know if we're going to improve, but let's give it a shot. I'll let you enjoy some engine sounds once we get past a team radio further down the straight so you can enjoy the full volume of this lap. But let's get into it and let's see what this lap looks like.
30 seconds left in the session.
And there we go then, 2 pole positions in a row. Who would have thunk it? What a performance, what a lap under pressure. A 1:14.8, a great time to deliver my first sub 1:15 lap time of the weekend. Great lap overall, very happy with it. And consecutive poles. Now the big question is, what is our race pace going to be like in the race? Are we going to struggle like Kota? Or will we dominate and will it be a foregone conclusion? We're about to find out as we jump into the race. But qualifying done, and this is looking very good for the championship, especially with Verstappen down in P9.
It's time then for the Mexico City Grand Prix, a race which gave Honda their first ever victory in 1965. American Richie Ginter winning from 3rd on the grid, and what of the Honda-powered cars this year? Red Bull have been strong here in recent seasons. Can they keep that record going today? We're a long way above sea level here in Mexico today, which could pose some cooling issues for the cars as they make their way around this 2.6 mile lap. 17 corners with top speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and watch out for potential overtaking into turns 1 and 4. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Martinez lines up on pole position. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Hülkenberg, Leclerc, Carlos Sainz and Russell, Verstappen, Mick Schumacher, Hamilton and Pierre Gasly, Joe, Vettel, Valtteri Bottas and Ricciardo, Norris, Magnussen, Nicholas Latifi and Lance Stroll, Ocon, Albon, Fernando Alonso and Yuki Tsunoda. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race.
So as you guys may know, on this series and generally for the past few years, my race pace has been my strong point. Usually my qualifying lets me down. However, 2 poles in a row. Last episode we got pole, and surprisingly the qualifying pace ended up being stronger than the race pace. I had to defend and I had to, hold my own. We got a bit lucky with the safety car to bail us out on the strategy, and we got away with the win. But this could be a similar race. I don't really know what to expect, so I'm going to keep my eyes and keep my options open, because the reality is we could struggle for pace again in the race, and it wouldn't entirely surprise me. The big challenge is getting to turn 1 in P1, so a race start off the line that's good is going to be crucial. So formation lap is going to be super key, and pointing the car aggressively to the inside. Strategy is a simple one stop, so we're looking at a medium to hard tyre. Possibly could go medium soft, or medium, even stretch it all the way to a soft and a one stop. But I'm not going to take any big risks, especially because we have the championship lead now. So fuel-wise, I'm going for a lap extra fuel. We've got some pretty high pressures, which means very low tyre wear. So that is going to help us out. But yeah, enough rambling. Let's get into it. If we win this, this could be a real key race. Don't get me wrong. It is Mexico. Don't be fooled. There's still another 7 races to go. We've got the entire eastern part of the calendar with Australia, the Far East in China, Singapore, Japan. We've got Bahrain, Jeddah, Abu Dhabi, all still to go. And then, of course, we have a few more races in the US, in Brazil, and I think Brazil's the last one. So, yeah, we've still got a couple races to go yet. So even though it's Mexico, we're still very much in the mid part of the calendar, so don't be fooled. Anyway, leave a like if you're going to enjoy. Predictions down below, and let's get into it. So we've got a decent bit of tyre warm-up on the go. We're now going to line up in our grid slot. This is going to be very interesting. I just hope we can get a good start. Sainz opting for the softs, Perez opting for the hards. So we do have some tyre offsets. Sainz could be a genuine threat we have to watch out for. But anyway, let's line her up, and hopefully we can get a good grid slot. There we go, that is perfect.
Okay, so that's the rest of the grid forming up now. Be patient and watch for those lights.
We're going to have a small wait as everybody forms up. Takes a bit longer from pole. But yeah, if we win this, this would really help in both championships. Hulkenberg also P3 on mediums. Could be a 1-2 today. There's a strong chance of it happening. Oh, it's not good. I almost jump start by accident. I had to put my finger back on the paddle right at the time the lights went out, so we've been jumped by 3 cars already, which isn't good. Sainz on the outside, Mercedes on the inside. We've got to try and stay alive here as we make our way through the first 3 corners. Leclerc, the man who started, I believe, P5 or P4, jumping into the lead. Perez holding on to second place on that hard tyre. But Leclerc needs this result. This is bad news for us right now. Verstappen's way down the order, which is good. But we have to try and get back on it, but that was a poor getaway from us. Just a shame, really. I could feel my fingers slipping off the paddle. I just had to correct my positioning, but that meant that I just got a bit of a delayed reaction to the lights. Well, let's see. Perez is going to be very slow, I think, in his first couple of laps, so it's important that we look to get past him. And we'll try to be aggressive on the battery if I need to. I think recharge is pretty difficult around here. I am running, I think, higher wings compared to the AI. But if we have to go for it, we have to go for it. Hulkenberg already putting the early pressure on. Let's see if we can follow him and try to get both of our cars into the podium positions. Leclerc already breaking away. Russell looking for a move here. We're going to have to use some battery to stay ahead. Again, it's normally a bad sign if the Mercedes is faster than us on the straight. It means they're usually nailed on pretty much. The AI are much faster than us on the straight across the entire circuit, because the Merc is always very slow on the straight. Leclerc 18-1.
DRS has been enabled this lap. You can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Hopefully now the AI will start to not use as much energy. They usually drain their batteries in the first 2 laps, and then they stop using it, so they should be a bit more raceable on the straights. But we need Hulkenberg to get this move. I feel like he will, now that there's DRS. I can't stop using battery. The Russell is putting the pressure on. Meanwhile, Hulkenberg going for the move on Perez. Checo locks up, runs in a bit wide. Fine back versus Hulkenberg. We're going to sneak through here. We might be able to get the Red Bull. He won't have DRS. I'm going to try not to use too much battery and try to get this done with just a bit of overtaking ability. And the outside, we might actually get Hulkenberg as well here, actually. 2 for 1. Accidental, but we're taking it. And that is us into P2. So we went from defending from Russell to getting past Hulkenberg and Checo. Let's see what kind of pace we have in clean air. I am quite slow on the straight, so it's important that we nail this middle sector and the final sector as well as much as possible. That was nice. Hulkenberg's probably going to get back past here. I'm not going to waste all my batteries. I don't really have a lot left already. Hulk's going to get double DRS and plenty of overspeed, so we can afford to let him go. Might have to work together here, but it could work in our favour. Hulkenberg fastest lap, 17.9. That's good pace to follow. Checo using all of his battery here to get by. You can see if I don't use any ERS, we're a sitting duck on the straight, which isn't good. Having absolutely none of that though, we're going to just fight back straight away as Tsunoda retires. I'd love a breakaway. Hopefully Russell can look to put some pressure on Perez, but a bit of a DRS break would be kind to us. I mean, we might just have that actually. Perez not able to keep up through there. So I think we've got what we want. So me and Hulkenberg just running on our own now. We can hopefully recharge our battery in peace. Another yellow. Oh my god. Leclerc out of the race. That could be a massive, massive moment in the championship. Could that cost Leclerc the World Championship? Either way, that moves us into a 1-2. Signs out as well. I could have sworn I just saw signs out of the race.
There's a new strategy available on the MFD.
We'll confirm now. But Leclerc is definitely out. Okay, no, Sainz isn't out. I don't think he is. I think he's still in the race. Must have been a bug. Or must have seen something. But Leclerc is out. And that for the championship is huge. Now, what do we do now, strategy-wise? Do we stack? Hulkenberg stays out, so I'm going to pit. We'll do the opposite. We'll break up the strategy so we're not on the same one. Looks like nobody's pitting except for me, which is interesting. Verstappen on the hard tyre. I don't know if this is the right decision, but I felt like I had to split my strategy compared to Nico. So let's see. Ricardo and Stroll in, but that's it.
You only have to stop once now. One stop left.
Yeah, I really don't know what we're going to do with this, but let's see what happens. We've got no fresh soft soil mediums, just a fresh hard tile. So we'll have to do with that what we can. So safety car in this lap. I don't really know what to expect here. I feel like my pace isn't that great, as you've seen so far. Ricardo, Stroll and a fresh medium behind. I'm expecting them to probably get past. I think we're going to have to play the long game. Ideally, if I can get this tyre to the end, that would be the perfect scenario. So let's see. I'm not going to be too over ambitious. I feel like we have a bit of an issue in terms of tyre wear. It's, you know, not looking great, but they are going to just burn their battery, so we're not going to try and fight too much. Holding some battery back is going to be key as we get back to racing speed. So let's see if we can try and do our race and then play the long game here. I think the only way we get back into this now is not stopping, especially because we don't have a fresh, soft or medium to go for. I think Stroll won't go for the move here, so we're going to be okay. Oh, Alonso in a bit deep there. I don't really want to pass cars, but I'm basically just being invited to do so as we get Ricardo as well. A lovely double overtake without even really intending to do so. Alonso dropping back even further. Still, there'll be a lot of that. It's just about playing the long game though and being patient. The AI will relax a little bit on their battery consumption starting from the next lap. It's all about staying in the DRS train, as I think that's what's going to happen here. We're going to have Ricardo, Stroll, who are flying on their fresh tyres, everybody else on used rubber. So maybe we could actually make them a few places, but the key thing here is trying to save tyres. We've got to try and make these go to the end. Ocon giving Ricardo a nice old squeeze there as we have more action. And again, we're going to get past Daniel. easily through here. Not really trying, not trying to lose time. We've got a double Williams roadblock here being led by Latifi, which isn't great as we've lost contact with the cars ahead.
DRS has been enabled. DRS is now enabled.
Here goes Ricciardo for the third lap in a row. You can see this time he's not using as much battery, as it's not as much of a clear move. However, now Stroll looking for the pass. And this is now becoming a little bit too much time loss for my liking, which is a problem. Alonso's probably going to get past here as well, maybe. Depending on how much battery he chooses to use, which isn't a lot, so we're going to be okay. Oh my god, this is becoming a problem now. Latifi's getting passed by everybody. Again, I just can't afford to just follow in a line. It's just costing us too much time. If I get the chance to make moves, I will make them. In this case, we'll stay ahead of Stroll now, thanks to that. It's going to keep happening though, down to turn 1. Let's see what happens here. Magnussen looking for a move in this contact. Debris across the racetrack. Not sure from who. It's not over yet. Let's watch, see what happens here. And we go around the outside of Ricciardo, which is the inside. Just going to pick these up one by one. We're losing too much time. I can't afford to just sit around and do nothing. I think Latifi is the one that is damaged. Yeah, 100% Latifi's got problems. As we get past Ocon in the S section. And that is major floor damage. Why is Ocon trying to pass me with no front wing? Should have given him more space through the S's maybe, but AI's racecraft sometimes is so frustrating. Right, so that's that done, but we've lost so much time and the car is a mess to drive. It feels horrible. Let's see what kind of pace I can do. I'm going to push a little bit on this lap to try and close up to Albon and Magnussen, but I think we're in trouble. I think that floor damage is a bit too much. Unfortunately, the car feels like a dog to drive. We're 4/10 off our personal best. It's very, very unstable in the corners. I can't push, which is a problem because I'm slow on the straights. I have to push in the corners, especially the S section in sector 2, which is my strongest sector. I can't push at all, which is a big problem.
The side pods have taken damage. Keep an eye on your engine temperatures. Cooling may be adversely affected.
I think this could be the end of our race. Oh my god, it's so on edge. It doesn't feel good to drive. This is not going to help us in terms of making our tyres last to the end, because I don't really have control of the car. So cars are starting to pit. Let's see what kind of gap we have.
Be very careful. The floor's incurred massive damage.
I'm well aware. I'll hold my hand up. I think that was my fault. I mean, I have to watch it back, but anyway, we're in the points. The gap we have to those that are pitting is the gap we need to try and maintain for 20 laps. Yellow flag. Lance Stroll in trouble. More cars in the pit lane here.
Nico's coming in for his stop now.
Looks like it's a spin. Lance has kept on going. So we're P4 now. Gap to Hamilton is about 10 seconds. Let's see what the gap is to Russell. 7.8. That's the gap we've got to try and maintain. Obviously more cars yet to pit. Ricciardo's on a 2-stop, but you can see I'm just struggling to even push. The car is just horribly unstable. So a 19.3 in clean air. That's kind of where I'm at on a really good lap. Hulkenberg 17.8. That says everything you need to know. So let's see. I've noticed another big issue besides instability is that I can't put the power down. Even in like 5th gear, I have to feather the throttle and be very patient. So we do struggle a bit on that as well. At the moment, once the 3 cars ahead pit, we should be in the lead. Just over Perez. It's going to be close with Checo when he pits in the next couple of laps. So Verstappen pits first. So we'll move up into the podium places. Ricciardo should also be in soon. Stroll doing a good job of holding up.
Information on Ricciardo. They seem to have an issue.
We'll take that, even though we're not racing Ricciardo. That's going to help us out. I was going to say Stroll's holding up the Mercedes, both of them, and also Hulkenberg, so that's doing us a favour right now. Hulkenberg having a massive scrap right now with Russell, which, that's the only good thing. Hulkenberg, Hamilton, Russell, Verstappen, Perez, Stroll, they're all running in that train and pack of cars. So if the AI misbehave like they were with us when the race restarted, if they race like that, they could...
Information on Stroll, they've got some kind of mechanical problem.
They could, you know, knock front wings off, cause themselves trouble and cost themselves time. So, yeah, Stroll now with car issues. Perez is going to pit, so does Ricciardo, so Stroll should be in as well. So we're going to take the lead of the race.
We're approaching the pit window now, and you're going to be on hard next time.
Now, ideally, I want Perez behind Hulkenberg, but that's not going to happen. Checo's already at pit exit, so Checo's going to be the big threat. He's going to be hard to beat, especially because Red Bull on the inverted strategy, so they're on mediums now. We're snapping up to P4. You can see now the normal order has resumed, so we are going to still lead this race, but our pace is shocking. Still 15 laps to go. This is going to be a tough one. Ideally, the longer the battle for P3 continues, the better. I think Hulkenberg, Hamilton and Russell could be in for a decent scrap. The Red Bulls are going to be too hard to stop on that medium. So let's see. Checo is here. Didn't take long. Verstappen also not far behind. I've got to be smart here. I cannot fight these guys. We could probably finish P4. Possibly.
Pit window's open, so let's box this lap. Box this lap.
I think P4 is realistically possible. Russell isn't flying anymore, and he's not got Hamilton right behind, and then he's got Ricciardo behind him, I think, on Norris, and then it's a pretty big gap. So we will finish in the points there. The question is, how many are we going to score? The worst thing that can happen is a safety car. We don't have competitive tyres to go for, and we have, of course, a lack of pace, which, yeah, I just hope the race stays as it is now. Oh my god. It's right on the knife edge, it really is. There's Max then, he's going to look to get by. Our championship rival, not much I can really do about this. Again, playing the long game. Hulkenberg's next. Russell now starting to make some progress as we approach the final 10 laps. It's going to be close. Just got to try and keep pushing with what we have and hope for the best. I'd love to nab some DRS for a couple of zones if I could, but I don't have the pace. Alright, let's see if I can let Hulkenberg go. Preferably in this DRS zone so that I get DRS for the next two. Russell is going to pass us. P5 is easily achievable though. That is on the table. I'll let Hulkenberg go here. I think it's worth it rather than lead DRS in the next two zones. But yeah, Norris doing a fantastic job fighting from the back. He's battling with Hamilton though. We've got more than enough to stay ahead of them, so they're not a threat. So let's just try and bring home P5, possibly P4, but realistically P5. I don't think we're going to keep George behind. So out of DRS range of Hulkenberg. So Russell will now go for the move. I could try to keep up, maybe. I'll see what I can do. I've got a little bit of battery in the reserve, but it's not going to be easy. Second track in the morning. Trying to push here to stay within DRS, but I've just been dropped. Just couldn't keep up. I used all my battery, but wasn't to be. I am on for a personal best. That's how much I've been trying to nail this lap, using all the battery and getting the DRS, but it's not going to happen. The car does feel better than 10 laps ago. The lighter car seems to help with the instability, but the AI also getting faster, so it doesn't really matter too much. But yeah, I think we're going to be okay. Let's just try and bring this home in P5. Hopefully no more dramas. So Checo wins his home race. I'm pushing for a personal best if I can. I've got a load of battery saved up, but it's not going to happen. Just don't have the pace. Confetti goes up. 1-2 for Red Bull. Huge result. Hulkenberg holds on to third. And we're going to come home in P5, which I'll absolutely take.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Brilliant Brilliant stuff from Red Bull today. What a superb victory. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently. It's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be proud of the victory they've secured here.
So with that race done, I'm very, very happy to finish in P5. I didn't think it was possible, but I do feel like the AI self-destructed and had a bit of a messy race themselves. Everybody one-stopped, but the pace wasn't there for most of the AI for the race for some reason, and that's a bit of a weird one. I don't quite understand why, considering their qualifying pace and also their early race pace in the first in. So I think they must have taken some wings off each other, a bit of damage, because if you look at P9, you've got Albon, who started 20th up in P9, Ricciardo gaining places, Magnus and Alonso. So quite a few cars, gaining positions. Either way, we're going to take it. That is a big double points finish, and especially considering no Ferrari in the top 14. Checo wins at home with a fastest lap. 1-2 for Red Bull. Hulkenberg, another podium. Russell looking strong in P4. Norris P6. Hamilton's race pace nowhere compared to his qualifying pace, which was a lot stronger, although he did fumble it in Q3. Schumacher in the points for Haas, good performance ahead of Albon, great recovery drive from P20, and then Ricciardo scoring the final point with those car issues. And then further down, Sainz, yeah, he did DNF, I was right. I didn't see on the minimap, I didn't see him disappear, but yeah, both Ferraris DNF'd at the same time, so that would explain it. So, with that done, let's look at the standings, because this is going to be a real big shift in the championship. So, we're still 10 points to the good. Perez is putting a challenge in. He's come alive in the last 5-6 races. He's ahead of Verstappen. He's second in the championship. Hulkenberg 4th. Leclerc down to 5th when he was leading 2 races ago. Russell still in the mix, and Sainz with that DNF may have just fallen out of contention slightly, but I will still consider this a 7-car fight. It's still game on. It's as close as it can be, especially that top 5. In the Constructors, Ferrari have taken a couple L's and they've dropped out of range a little bit. It's Red Bull versus 97 Racing, but I think Ferrari are still in the mix. They've still got a strong car. They did just leapfrog Red Bull in terms of the performance chart, so I think they're looking strong moving forward. Mercedes, I'm starting to rule them out for the Constructors, but Russell still in the mix in the drivers. Either way, guys, this season's been insane, and it's just going to keep delivering, and it's just going to keep going. So hopefully you stick around for the ride. Leave a like if you enjoyed today's episode. Let's try and smash over 800 likes. Subscribe for more, as it really helps out my channel if you're a new viewer. And yeah, I want to try and reach 100k subs on the channel at some point in the future. As always, a massive shout out to the members. Check out the 2 videos on screen, and I'll see you guys in the next one in Brazil, which is a sprint race. Until then, take care, and that's goodbye from me.